In this episode, the best BMW M3 ever made. Some vintage car spots, and simplicity is key. Welcome to episode 166 of the We Are Auto Show. What's up, Derek?
Mr. Michael Rowell, I heard you have been driving a lot.
I've been driving a lot of things, yes.
How many things?
Well, let's see. I've driven my work car, very boring, Corolla. I've driven my personal car, a turbocharged 4-cylinder Volkswagen. I've driven a manual transmission Roush-tuned Ford Bronco. I've driven a Porsche 996 911 Carrera 2 with lots of upgrades. I've driven an E92 BMW M3 with an NAV8. And I've driven a Lamborghini Gallardo that was straight piped with its beautiful V10 noises.
Jeez Louise, that was over the past week?
Past 3 days.
Holy moly.
Man, it's been amazing.
That's a variety.
And it dawned on me that I kind of have driven like almost every kind of engine you could drive.
Yeah.
Like there's obviously some that I didn't get, like an inline 5, but like I drove a lot of different types of engines.
What were they?
Turbo 4.
Right.
Well, an NA4 as well, but that's boring, right? I drove a flat 6, a V8, and a V10. All the different kinds of engines. And they're all very uniquely different.
Which one was your favorite?
Oh, okay. So I'm going to be honest. I'm kind of tied. The V8 and the flat 6.
Okay.
I'm familiar with flat 6s, so that felt like home to me. But the V8 that I drove in the E92 M3 was really, really, really special.
That was it?
Like really, really, really special. The V10, I think, comes, since the flat 6 and the V8 are tied, the V10 comes close behind them. Then my regular old Turbo 4, and then the boring old Corolla, obviously. But it's made me determine that the next car that I buy will be an E90 BMW M3 or an E92, either way.
Really?
Yeah, I've fallen deeply, madly in love with it now that I've actually driven it.
You're going to be a BMW guy.
I
Are
am.
you ready for that?
I think I am ready to stop using my turn signals.
Okay.
I think I am ready to start driving like an asshole.
You have to commit to it.
I think I am ready to commit to just driving like a complete and utter dickwad.
All right, then you're ready.
I think I am. But let me quickly explain why the E92 BMW M3, or even just the E90, is the best M3 that has ever been made. I think ever, genuinely. And I'm not just saying that to fluff it.
The newest one is not the best one.
Correct. The
All right.
newest one's not the best. The second newest is also not the best.
Why?
Okay, let's start with the engine.
Okay.
And I found a link online that kind of encapsulates all the feelings that I have. Except this is ranking number 10 as the engine. I actually rank number 1 as the engine. Because
Oh, okay.
it's saying 10 things to love about this. I would say number 1 should be the engine. It's glorious. It's a 4-liter naturally aspirated V8. It revs to almost 8,400 RPM.
That's high for that engine.
That's like the Shelby GT350 that we drove from the driver mod, right?
That was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. And there's something ridiculously satisfying about revving that damn thing out to 8,300 and change.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're in second gear and thinking it's time to shift. No, it's only 6,100. Okay, it's time to shift. No, you're 6,900. No, okay, really now it's time to shift. No, you're 7,300. No, it's time to shift now. Like, come on. You're at 7,850. No, I got a little bit more. And you just stick with it. And it just, the sound alone just sends a tingle down your spine. It is so intoxicating. I mean, every underpass was a downshift a second just because why not?
That was the problem I always had with the Shelby when I was driving it. I short shifted everything. But by 2,000 RPM, I short shifted everything. And he's just No. Go. Stand in it. Go. Pull it out. Rev it out. It's a mental game you have to play with an engine like that.
When you're so used to just shifting at like $6,000, you think
a normal range.
Yeah. And then you look down, you're like, wait, I still have another $2,500 to go. It's time. Let's let it sing, baby.
Yep.
There is something so special about this E90 M3. E92 is what I drove more specifically, which was the 2-door versus the 4-door was the E90. Not only the engine is just brilliant what it is, it sounds great, it feels great. It's got 414 horsepower.
Perfect.
So it's a lot of horsepower to have fun, but it's not 1,000 horsepower where you're going to kill yourself.
Right.
It's amazing. It's rear-wheel drive, but it is the first and last M3 to have a V8.
Really?
The only one.
Ooh.
They only did a V8 in the E92.
I did not know that.
It's special.
That is special.
And it's pretty well the exact same engine that was in one of my favorite BMW race cars that ever raced, that I saw race at Sebring, and I always thought looked really cool. The Z4 GT3.
Oh, that thing.
Do you remember that?
I do.
It had that S65 engine in it
that
revved to 8350, and just, god damn, that was just such an amazing engine to listen rip. It was so good. I remember just watching, and that car was my all-time favorite BMW race car, I think.
It was a weird looking car, but it sounded awesome.
It was so good.
Yeah.
And I got to drive pretty much that engine in a road car.
That's cool.
So the engine, while this article ranks at number 10, no. That's number 1 by a huge margin. In the article, it says it has awesome performance. I agree, because it's enough performance to make you, again, have a lot of fun, but not kill yourself. The article says it's aggressive but subtle, which I totally agree with.
Yeah.
It's not like GT3 RS where you have giant wings and scaffolding, and it's, if you just want to kind of go to the grocery store and kind of blend in, you don't have to shift at 8,400.
Right.
You can just subtly get to where you want to go. Apparently, it's reliable and modifiable, which I somewhat agree with, because it did have the S65 V8 does know that it has rod bearing and throttle actuator issues. A huge value for money is what it lists next, and I totally agree, because you can find a used one with some miles for $25,000.
Ooh. Now we're talking.
25 to 30 grand for 400 plus horsepower. Yes. That's this one, many cars in one. That's quite funny, because it's got the Ute version, but it really is like, it's kind of all things to all man. It's perfect for me because I can do everything with it. I can blast around Sebring if I wanted. I could take it to the shops. I could bring the world's most adorable little baby around, my little 21-month-old niece, right? I can do anything with it. It's amazing. It's so perfect. It says it's a true M car, which I agree with. It feels like an M car. They did make limited edition models of it, so Lime Rock Park edition. This article lists it is destined to be a future classic as well, which I totally agree with as well. I think it's going to be, in 20 years, I think it's going to be the M3 that everyone's going, I really want that.
Yeah.
And it says you can go from racetrack to supermarket with ease. I agree. There's just something so good about the E92, or in my case, I'm looking for an E90, that just, it's just so good for me. I really, I'm totally smitten by it.
All right. You drove it once.
Mm-hmm.
We'll come back to this in like a month.
Okay.
And we'll see if you have the same feelings. Because you might just be getting the effect of the drive.
I might be, but I might also be addicted to revving a V8 to 8,400.
Who isn't? If you've done it, you know it's very addicting.
It's so good. I love it. Because after the E90, BMW went back to the turbo inline 6, which is powerful, sure, but I feel like, and this is kind of the same thing that you hear from almost everyone that's owned E90s and F80s, is kind of like the turbocharged inline six just lacks a soul. And I know I'm feeling and sounding very, I guess nostalgic, or I don't know, whatever you want to call me. But it just kind of is what it is. There's something so good about that NAV8, that 4-liter NAV8 that just revs to 8350, 8400. It just, I can't get enough of it.
That's your version of my NSX.
Yeah, I think I genuinely think the next car that I buy is an E90 M3. Like,
Okay.
I am at this point pretty well full sold on it.
Wow.
I thought my next car was going to be a 996 Porsche.
Yeah. That's what I would have thought too.
I'm very much, because the 996 lacked the same amount of horsepower. The 996, I don't want to say this, almost feels slow compared to that M3.
It probably is.
Yeah, because the 996 would have had like 300 horsepower.
Right? It is.
Versus, I like a raspy flat six. I love the sound of that. But there's something just so raw about a V8 that just doesn't stop revving. It's so, I'm smitten. I'm in love. I've fallen deeply, madly in love with a BMW.
Weird to think you've fallen in love with a grunty V8 over a flat six. Odd.
Again,
odd.
I'm going to have many Porsches in my life, but I think the next car I buy is an M3.
All right.
I will have many Porsches. I'll have a GT3 at some point in my life, but my next car, because value for money, the same amount of money that I'd spend on an E90 M3, spending that on a Porsche, I get way more E90 M3 than I do Porsche.
It's a much better value. I agree. Do it to it. I like it.
It's going to be in my garage. Soonish is my goal.
All right. I like it.
Oh, I get my tingles thinking about that V8. Ooh, goosebumps.
All right. While you've been out and about driving all of these cars, have you seen anything of note that you have not driven, just seen?
So I popped over to Sarasota Cars and Coffee for a second, and I saw something, and I know it doesn't really count because it was at Cars and Coffee, but I'm going to claim it anyway. I saw a car that was remarkably well kept for it being such a piece of shit.
Yes, I'm in. Count me in on this.
Have you ever heard of an amazing thing called a Lada?
Oh boy.
A Lada Riva, or a 1300 SL.
You saw a Lada at Cars and Coffee?
Yep.
Wow.
I didn't know it was still in existence. It is so bad. They are so bad. Once again, they are so bad.
That they're good.
No, they're just bad. There's nothing so ugly it's cute. There's nothing so bad it's good. They're just so bad.
I've never seen a Lada.
I didn't either until I walked up and I was like, oh my God, it's a Lada. What? How is it alive?
Huh.
What is going on? What is this? How is this a thing? Remind me, where are they from?
Lada's
Russia?
a Russian company.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's a Russian shitbox.
Yes. Lada was integrated with its sister brand Dacia.
That's right.
To Renault.
That's right. But I saw an old Lada, I guess technically you could call it a Riva, but it's a Lada 1300 SL. You ready for some specs?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right. You ready to be blown away?
I don't have high hopes.
You shouldn't. So, the Lada 1300 SL has a naturally aspirated inline four-cylinder. It is a petrol motor, not diesel. It does produce an immense amount of power. An immense amount of power.
Please be over 50. Please be over 50.
Not by much.
Shit.
72.
Okay. I can handle 70.
Barely.
Oh, boy.
Barely.
All right.
It produces 72 brake horsepower.
Magical.
That is so bad. You know how many torques it makes?
It's not even 7. It's got to be.
It is just
be above
70.
50.
It's
Oh
70.
yes.
It's just
God,
70 at 5,600 RPM.
So it's screaming. She's screaming to get 70.
You ready for its top speed? 84 miles per hour. I would be scared to death
You would
of
never.
going 84 miles
would-
an hour in this thing.
It would never make it there anyway. But wow.
It is. I honestly, there was at Cars and Coffee, Ferrari SF90, McLaren 720S, Lamborghini Huracans. There was, but the Lada 1300 SL. I honestly walking around the whole lot, going, "Oh, that's neat. That's kind of cool. Oh my God, a Lada!"
Yeah.
That's my spot of the week. A Lada 1300 SL. It is so bad that I cannot believe it is still alive.
That's awesome.
How is it alive?
I don't know. A old Russian. This had to be in the Soviet era. What year was it made?
Oh, God, I don't know. What is this?
Is it the 80s or 70s or? It has to be around there, right?
Let me see here. 70s.
Okay, so this could have been in this. Yeah, I think this would have been in the Soviet area.
Except this looks like it should have been from like the 50s or 60s. So
I mean, think about it. A car being built by Russians in Soviet Russia was never going to be a good thing. But this is what they drove around in that massive country.
This is what
in
they
the
were
winter.
allowed to drive around in that massive country.
Yes, you're right.
That is how much their government hates them.
Mm-hmm. This is what you were forced to drive around.
We hate you so much, we're going to give you this Lada 1300 with a whopping 72 horsepower.
And you could never go over 65 miles an hour because the wheels would fall off.
You just rattled to death.
Yeah.
Oh, there goes the door. Honey, what happened to my mirror? Oh, was that a wheel? I don't know. What was that? That's
Don't
your
worry.
trunk. It's okay.
Don't worry.
We'll pick one up at the next aid station.
Yep. Mother Russia's got plenty of them laying around.
Yes, comrade. You have Lada. It's so bad. But that's my spot of the week. A Lada.
Of all the supercars and hypercars there, I would be fixated on the Lada. That's awesome.
I spent honestly 15 minutes just looking at it, going, oh my God. Oh my God. It's a Lada.
It's
it's
reminiscent
here.
of the Chrysler Maserati by Chrysler hunk of junk that we found. That's just magical. Has a great story.
Yes.
Is awesome looking. And it doesn't matter if there's a Bugatti next to it. I'm going to look at the Chrysler by Maserati.
Of
What a weird
course.
car.
Of course.
That's neat.
So yeah, that's my spot of the week. A Lada 1300 SL. Did you see anything while you were on your trip?
I did. I happened to see this while I was on my trip, which I believe is a Packard. I think it was a 200 is the one that I saw.
I would have just, I wouldn't have been able to figure it out. I would have just called an old car.
I had to take a picture of it, go to Google Lens, which is a service where you can put the picture up on the internet, and you could tell it to look at a certain part of the photo and ask it what are similar things that are close to that to figure out that this was a Packard 200. I believe is the one I saw.
Oh my.
Yes.
Not very young.
Not at all, but it actually fit in really well into downtown Savannah, where all the buildings are historic looking.
That would be really, you know what?
Uh-huh.
That works.
And there was a bunch of foliage. Everything was very well grown in. It was a little chilly outside. It fit really well
I think that works
with
perfect.
that environment. Yeah,
That's
it was
just,
super cool, actually.
that's 10 of 10.
I couldn't tell if the one that I saw was a convertible. It was way down the street. But some stats about this. The Packard 200 was produced between 51 and 52, 1951 and 52, of a weight around 3,600 pounds, somewhere in there. You had two different power plants that you could get. The first one being a 135 horsepower, 4.7 liter, inline 8.
What?
An inline.
What?
8, not a V8. You see how long that hood is? There's a lot of cylinders down there.
1,
okay?
2, 3. That's it. It's just all. It's a longest block of cylinders ever.
It's a line of cylinders. You need lots. Look at that.
Golly.
That thing is magical.
But that oozes style.
Oh, dude.
That oozes style.
That's when style was good in cars. Now
Yeah.
it's just aerodynamics and lane.
My wife and I we've had this discussion. We were born in the wrong era.
We were.
Like the swinging 60s and all, that just looks like the business.
Yep.
It looks like life was so much more fun.
It does. I'm sure it probably was. You could also get this in a 150 horsepower with a 5.4 liter inline 8-cylinder. So you could get the upgrade if you wanted, which is pretty sweet. The upgraded engine, by the way, would only cost you an extra $45.
Oh my goodness gracious. How much did the whole car cost you?
The whole car, the overall MSRP when it came out, $2,400. Which is around $27,000 to $30,000 today.
Okay.
Somewhere in there.
So that's like your average car.
Right. Adjusted for inflation. Overall, it was a pretty cool car, and it really fit in well where it was.
What year would the Packard have been from?
Would have been 91 to 92.
91?
51. 51 to 52.
So that looks 90s were when cars were awful.
No. 51 to 52.
Okay, that's putting something in perspective. So the Packard was made in the early 50s.
Beginning of the 50s.
51. And it had base spec 135 horsepower.
Yes.
The Lada was made in the 70s and barely topped 70 horsepower.
You're right. Mind you, the Lada had half the cylinders.
Yes. But people knew that you didn't have to have that many cylinders then.
That's
in
true.
the 50s, you didn't know that.
Was direct injection around by then?
I don't think so. No, actually.
I don't think
it
so.
was.
No.
Either way, that just goes to show you how bad the Lada is.
Yeah, not great. Not great. But I bet you the cylinder to horsepower ratio is kind of similar.
Yeah,
actually.
I bet you're right.
It's kind of funny.
With a 20-year difference.
Yeah. So we both saw old school cars.
We did.
Pretty neat. I'm a fan of that when the car spots turn into things that we're not normally seeing. It's not your classic Ferraris and Lamborghinis and Maseratis. It's just, nope, something really weird and old. But that brings us to the I wish they would have. Do you have one?
I do, and it has to do with one of the cars I drove. I drove a Ford Bronco, and the Ford Bronco was a manual transmission. And I got to admit, it was one of the easiest manual transmissions I've ever driven. You can pretty much just dump the clutch and it'll roll in first without any gas.
Oh, really?
It's almost unstallable.
Wow.
I mean, you probably could stall it if you tried hard enough, but you would have to try to stall it.
You'd have to kick the clutch hard.
You'd have to try to stall it.
All right.
The one I drove was really neat. It was lifted on big mud tires and tuned by Roush. So it was a Roush tuned. But here's the thing. And you know what? I wish they would have is going to be, I wish they would have in two parts. Part one is I wish that you could get the Bronco with the Raptor trim in a manual.
Okay.
Because the only manual that you can buy is the base 4-cylinder.
Why?
Because it's a bit that in Ford's eyes, the only people that want a manual can only afford a base.
Usually it's the other way around.
It's an SUV.
In the sports car racing world, it's the opposite.
This is off-road vehicle.
Ford, come on. You have a sports car. It's called the Ford GT.
It's called the Mustang. It's called the Focus RS.
Yep.
Come on. But my first part of the I wish they would have is I wish you could get the Bronco Raptor with a manual transmission with a twin-turbo V6 in a 2-door. My second part is that I wish that Ford allowed you to turn off the automatic rev matching.
You couldn't turn it off?
No. I was searching the owner's manual. We could not figure out how to turn the auto. We tried doing the things that would show you cannot turn it off. So, maybe I'm just stupid. But we were trying everything.
So you're going into a corner, you're braking, you're going to heel toe, but you don't have to heel toe. You just slide it into gear and it revs for you.
Yep.
Okay. And there's no way to turn it off.
Not that we could figure out, because we tried everything we could find, and I would be going to a light, and I'd go into neutral, and it would think I'm going into a gear, and it, boom, like,
Yep.
freaking stop it.
Yeah.
Just stop. It makes it very difficult to teach how to heel toe when you can't heel toe.
You don't have to heel toe.
Correct.
It auto heel toes.
Like, hello?
It's kind of funny when you go from gear to neutral while you're on the brakes. It does rev a little bit. The Veloster did that too that I drove, and I was like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's like, why are you... stop.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Just don't do that.
The purist in me is like, stop it.
That's not what I'm trying to do.
Right.
I'm not trying to blip. I'm trying to just go to neutral. Leave me alone.
But did it work well?
It was fine. Again, it's not gonna stall. I mean, sure, again, you could stall it if you really tried, but it's making it too easy. It's cheating.
I agree. It should be a toggle on and off kind of thing.
An easy toggle on and off. Not like a launch sequence of a nuclear missile with 2 sets of keys and 4 nuclear codes and like 3 guys in suits. It needs to be just a yes or no.
Buttons.
Yeah. So that's my wish that would have. Do you have one?
I like that. I do have one. So mine is related to the trip that I was going on.
Oh.
It was actually my wife in the back seat. She's like, I have an I wish they would have.
Oh.
I wish, and this was brilliant, that all back seats or all cars that have back seats that passengers can be in came with a sun visor.
Oh.
How simple and smart is that?
That is one of those, like, blaringly obvious. Why is this not a thing?
Why is it not a thing? Why can't the passengers just slide the little sun visor down or have a way to fold it down or something like that? It's so easy.
That's one of those where, like, it's so obvious that how have we not thought of it?
I don't know.
How has it not been done?
I don't know. We were on the way back, and the ladies wanted to take a nap in the back, and they were like, why don't we have a way to block out the sun? Seems brilliant. So easy.
Yeah.
Weird. It's a good one, though.
Very, very. I like that. I wish I would have.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Makes too much sense.
It really does.
Yeah. So, you got anything else?
I do not.
It's going to wrap us up for episode 166. Thanks so much for watching and listening. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you first. But please do leave us a thumbs up on the video. Drop a comment as well. Let us know what you wish they would have. And don't forget to hit subscribe. And if you're listening on audio, please send us your I wish they would haves via our social. Facebook is We Are Auto. YouTube is We Are Auto. Instagram is We Are Auto _. And our website is weareauto.io, where you can go to check out some of your favorite past races. So thanks again. Catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.